back. So this is another episode of the Meld PR Vlogcast, and thank you for listening. Today we're going to be talking about running a reactive PR campaign, which is different from a proactive PR campaign, which is what we were talking about last time, a whole other kettle of fish. What if there were reporters out there who were in the middle of planning to write a story, and they haven't written it yet. They haven't even actually started really researching it yet. They have an idea.
They're poking around. They're thinking about it. They're scratching their heads.
They have a working title. They have certain questions they want to ask. They know what expert sources they want to reach. They have a certain deadline in mind because their editor is always breathing down their necks. And what if I told you that we could actually know what these reporters were thinking? That we could.
What you need, baby, we got it. Right? Ideally, you want to have something for them. For that reporter who is searching, like that's a golden moment in PR, I would say. Sorry for interrupting, but that golden moment where we're always trying to figure out like who would be interested in writing about what our client wants to have written about. And if we had like some magical PR telepathy and we could catch writers right at the cusp, like this is what I'm thinking about doing. It ties in exactly what our client wants. There is no PR telepathy. All we have to go on is the evidence that's in the record, right?
Yes. So, okay. Well, I didn't want to burst their bubble quite like that because, yes, we don't have any magical telepathy. We aren't literally reading reporters' minds, but we do have a way to access their stories and before they've written it, and it's really simple. Other PR agencies, I'm sure, may be using this, although not to the extent that we use it. We get well over half of our coverage for our clients through reactive PR campaigns. And so it's super simple. We subscribe to a number of newsletters.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
So, yes, it's coming back.
Yeah, I was thinking about something entirely differently. Please clarify for us, Mr. Narvey. Because Neff kind of boofed this one.
No, I think you're on the right track with talking about the archives of content, because that's what partly comes out of this, which is a bonus. But the reactive PR is all about knowing what the reporters are going to be writing about and reacting to it very, very quickly and effectively. So we subscribe to newsletters that reporters use. They throw in exactly what I was talking about, their working title, the questions they want to ask, the expert sources they want to talk to, or the type of expert sources they want to talk to, and their deadline. And we look at 100 of those a day. And
the evidence that's in the record.
Exactly. And of those, there's maybe 2 or 3 a day, sometimes more, that will apply to our clients. So we have the questions, we have the reporter, we know what they're writing about.
No telepathy required. You just have to remember it exists.
And so it's kind of like you've got, like, imagine you're at your office if you're not working from home, and a reporter is actually knocking on your door saying, "Hi, I've got questions. I want to write this story. Can somebody help?" And if you leave them there for hours or worse, days, that's a problem for you.
Or somebody else answers the door before you do, right?
Yes.
Somebody else across the hall opens the door and goes, "Oh yeah, actually, we're the ones you want to talk to." You know, it's an interesting thing as a sidebar here, Narvey, that as you say, it doesn't seem like a lot of other PR agencies use these services. And I think part of the reason for that might be once you've got this actual query from a reporter who goes out for a subscription service, that's just where the work starts. From there, you're going to have to do some very fast writing, some very quick juggling, and you have to clear it all with the client. So there's a multi-stage process, which I can confirm took me a long time to learn, because you're trying to satisfy your boss, that cruel thug John Narvey, you know, a reporter who's on deadline stamping their foot, and a client who, as I said, clients are business people, not media people. They don't necessarily know what they want. So juggling all that stuff might be a little too labor intensive for other PR agencies. Good thing us guys are such pigs for work, huh, John?
There's that. Yeah. Well, look, we're effective at it. Clearly, the record shows, because as I said, more than half of our results come from reactive PR. And so, it's all about getting back to the reporter very quickly. If you use these kinds of services, then speed is part of it, and the other part of it is you actually have to give them something that they want. So they've got questions. You can't just get back to them with, hey, I'm so-and-so from XYZ company. I would love to talk to you about this topic. No, 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 no. You actually have to give them some answers, and you've got to spoon feed them something.
Yeah. You can't add any extra stages or any extra work for them. I'm not going to say that reporters are lazy, because who would say that? Let's say that reporters are hard pressed. Let's say that reporters are incredibly beleaguered, and therefore they would like everything neatly wrapped and placed on a platter for them. Our job really is to do that. And so it starts with you get a query off the service. As you taught me, oh mentor, I'm so happy to be your manatee. As you taught me, the beginning is to very closely read that question. Look at every bit of that query and see what the reporter is really talking about. Reporters have personalities too, of course. Sometimes the query will be a little bit vague, or maybe they're very early on in the process. They don't know exactly what it is. We have to know exactly. We have to get that information from the client. We have to run any responses by the client, and ideally get back to that reporter within a couple of hours of them posting the question. And if you're first and you give them stuff they actually need, rich, chunky nuggets of information and stuff, they're going to run with you. And I think that's how we got as successful as we are, my man.
And that is the basics of reactive PR. Now, I talked about how often we actually, how often we get successes with this for clients, how much effort actually goes into it. I would guesstimate we're talking 5 to 12 reactive pitches every week, of which not every single response will actually make it in. Even if you've done your job, you provide the reporter with something informative, original, maybe edgy, contentious, very cool for them to use. For whatever reason, they don't pick it, but that's fine. We have a good batting average with that. And so this comes full circle back to what Lyle was talking about at the very start of this conversation was, let's say we are putting together 5 to 12 reactive responses for reporters every week on behalf of each client. Well, that's a whole lot of content that the client owns. So you can repurpose those answers, all that information, into blog posts, newsletters, white papers, case studies, whatever you want. It's yours. We wrote it for you. It's exquisitely edited. It's good enough to appear in Newsweek. So it should be good enough to appear on your website. Or in your
I would point out too, if I may, that you scramble around, you reply to a reporter's request, you put the writing together, you help the client write it if necessary, you send it out, nothing happens. And this is what seems to happen most of the time. And sometimes, of course, 3 months later, an article will appear. Even if it doesn't, you've got back to that reporter, they're working on a story, they know your name, they know your client's name. So every response to these things is a win. Moreover, how can I put this? Over time, there's a certain sameness to journalistic inquiries. You might see the same kind of question surfacing again and again. So you see a query and you go, my client answered something almost identical to this last week. I need to get back to this reporter before anybody